So now you're the chief of chaplains. Faith works. That is the
Yes.
mantra that under
Yes.
your tutelage. How did
Yeah.
that come about? Why was that important for you to speak of, if you will? I see it as reclaiming our prophetic voice.
That's right.
So why was
That's
faith
right.
work? What was the impetus of that for you, sir?
Yeah, chaplains and religious affairs airmen in the chaplain corps, we are called to do lots of things, but we're mostly called to do religious things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we are supporters and defenders of the whole Constitution like anybody else who takes the oath, but we have a niche, and our niche is the First Amendment. Mm-hmm. And so when I was blessed to become the chief of chaplains, you know, it had been after about a decade of turmoil in the military. And the turmoil was driven largely by a few outside voices who weren't very large, but they were very vocal. Mm-hmm. And what they essentially began to say was that you can't be religious in the way that you want to be religious or need to be religious, or religious as the First Amendment defines it. You can only be religious in the way that a certain group of people thinks is acceptable. Mm-hmm. And I said, no, that's nonsense, because the First Amendment applies to every single airman. Yes. And when they come in and their family members join them, when they come in, they don't leave their religious freedom at the door. And so that was the starting point, because what I found is that because of these outside voices, commanders in particular were afraid.
Yes.
They were afraid, and as I've explained to commanders, you know, to groups large and small, if you're a commander because you've never failed at anything. Mm. You've succeeded at everything, and whether he or she was aware of it or not, what they were trying to do as a commander for just 2 years, mm-hmm. 2 years is nothing. Mm-hmm. For just 2 years, many of them began to think, all I have to do is not get fired.
Correct.
If I can make it for 2 years and not get fired, then I'm probably going to get promoted. I'm probably going to get to go and do great things. And so many of them, because of these outside voices, many of them began to listen to the outside voices and sort of give the Heisman to the First Amendment. And we got to come along as a chaplain corps and say, no. You know, the First Amendment long predated these outside voices, and we need to recapture the legitimate meaning of the First Amendment. And as I would often say, it's first for a reason. Mm-hmm. It's no coincidence that the First Amendment is first. It's no coincidence that the first thing mentioned in the amendments is the free exercise of religion. Yes. Not the freedom of worship. Correct. Which is a private matter that you should do in your privacy of your own home, they say, or in your religious facility, but the free exercise of religion. And so really it was providential. I ran across some research, some studies that basically said those who are devout in their faith do better in every element of their lives in the aggregate. Yeah, there are some exceptions to every rule, but in the aggregate, they do better relationally, they do better professionally, they do better in their marriage and their parenting, they do better in terms of resilience. And so I began to see that everything commanders want for their airmen to be effective warfighters, religion can help provide. Yes. I also noticed that commanders were very good at talking about at least 2 of the 4 elements of comprehensive airman fitness. Yes. They're really good at physical, yes. Because physical is easy. You know, physical is easy because if you can run this fast and do this many push-ups, they claim it's not true, but they claim you're physically fit. Correct. No, you can pass a test. Exactly. That's all you can do, but you may or may not be physically fit. And so they're also pretty good about you know, the emotional element, you know, the relational element. They're pretty good about that. But they were very ill-informed and afraid of the spiritual element. So they owned the first three, but they said, no, chaplain, this is yours.
Correct.
But that's not the way the law is written. The statutes say that spiritual fitness is a commander's obligation, a commander's responsibility. And the chaplain corps' job is to come alongside commanders to help them do their job with respect to religion and spirituality. Spiritual fitness, that's what it's all about.
Yes.
So because of this sort of confluence of events, the perfect storm of the outside voices and the decreasing religiosity of society writ large, but there was an increasing need for religion and faith,
Yes.
something we'd always done. And so I happened to run across Dr. Harold Koenig
Yes.
and at Duke University, the Center for Spirituality and Theology and Health, or whatever it's called. And so as the chief of chaplains, I took my 1 week of professional development and I went to a 1 week academic research course that he does every summer. And it was there that I realized, this is exactly what we need. The timing is right for this, because if I were to go to a commander and I would say to a commander, hey boss, I have found a way. I have a training program, and I've found a way that I can guarantee you, if you follow the training program, every one of your troops, every one of your airmen will pass the physical fitness test. Will you let me engage with them? The commander would have said, really? You found the secret? I've found the secret.
Correct.
Then they would say, come on in.
Come on.
Do it. I could do that with physical. I could do it with emotional.
Yeah.
I could do it with all the other things.
Yes.
But why couldn't I do it with spirituality? Oh no, chaplain, that's, this is these outside voices and I'm scared and I don't want to be fired. I said, no, it's your job.
Yes.
And what we know through the millennia is that for most people, 85% of Americans, but for most people in the world, for most people who've ever been on the planet in one way, shape, or form, religion has been the most important thing for them to do the kinds of things that you want, Commander, for your airmen. And I'd say, what if I could tell you? So I would often go to Galatians 5. And so in Galatians 5, there's the fruit of the Spirit,
Yes.
Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Contrasted with, just before that, the fruit of the flesh, if you will.
Yes.
And I would read to them the fruit of the flesh. It's debauchery, it's divisiveness, it's
Yes.
drunkenness, all the things that happens in their dorms.
Exactly.
And I would say to them, now here are these, let's pretend like these weren't in the Bible. Let's pretend like I could give you this list. Now this list from the Bible you've already given to me. These are the things I know you don't want. I don't want them either. And they're not good for your airmen. And what if I could give you this list, but what if I could say, here's another list.
Yes.
And this list, don't you want people to have love, joy, peace, all that, self-control. Self-control,
Yes.
don't you want that? And the commander would say, absolutely. I said, well, I have the secret. It's faith. Faith works. And so faith works became a mechanism in that unique context to say to commanders, listen, if you don't believe me, I'm supposed to talk about religion, right? That's my job.
Exactly.
If you don't believe me, what if you could look at reams and reams, 10,000 studies a year that speak to the value of not nominal faith, but the value of devout faith in a person's life. What if, you don't believe me, but what if are you saying that these studies are invalid?
Correct.
And so for me, it became synopsized in the title of Tyler Vanderwill's,
Yes.
Tyler Vanderwill's October 2016 editorial in USA Today. Religion may be a miracle drug.
Yes. Yes.
Religion may be a miracle drug. And so here you have Duke and Harvard.
Yes.
From a public health perspective, devout faith makes a radical difference. Now, if you're a commander, you can say, well, I don't care about, that's fine. You can say that, but you can't deny the reality.
Exactly.
And so I would say to them, why would you? deny the reality. The other thing that I would say to them, I would say, the drug test, the random drug test, drug demand reduction. What happens is I get a call from the orderly room. Do we still have orderly rooms?
FSS,
Whatever they're
yes,
called,
sir.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
I would get a call from the orderly room, even as a 2-star. And they would say, now, chaplain, we need you to come to the orderly room. We can't tell you why.
Exactly.
But we need you to come. And I would say, so I need to be drinking water on the way, right? And they would go, yeah, okay. Well, I know what this was. It was completely random.
Exactly.
And they didn't know what I'd done the weekend before. They didn't know the lifestyle I was living. All they knew was I came up on a list and I went over and I did a random drug test. What I said to commanders often, I said, don't you think that the same should be done for the physical fitness test? Because most people really, they don't live a lifestyle of physical fitness. They know there's a date on the calendar that their physical fitness test is happening. They know it months in advance, and about 6 weeks prior to the test, they start doing push-ups and running, and all they're not trying to be physically fit. All they're trying to do is pass the physical fitness test. I said, wouldn't it be cool if life worked like that? But life doesn't work like that. A trial comes, a divorce happes, an illness occurs, somebody in your family dies, you get deployed unexpectedly, you don't get promoted. All these things happen, and you don't get a 6-week notice. And so what I said to them is, I said, what I think we should do is we should make your physical fitness test be the same way as drug demand reduction. You should have in your desk drawer or in your tool bag, you should always have with you your PT gear. You should have your shoes, your socks, your shorts, and your shirt. And the orderly room should call you any random day. They should call you and they should say to you, now, okay, chaplain, we need you to come over and this, I can't tell you why you're coming over for, and I should have to ask them, now, should I bring my PT gear or should I be drinking water? Because that's the way life works. And so Faith Works is about having people have a lifestyle of spiritual fitness. Our mission statement at the time was developing spiritually fit airmen to fly, fight, and win. That was the point. How do we connect your lifestyle with the job that you have to fight and win the nation's wars? And so that's how it came to be, and that's what it was all about.